Hi guys, welcome to CreatorsBarn Podcast-Talking music, and I've got another guest with me today. This time we're going to talk about a few different topics, hopefully, some of which are going to include the following of talking about being time rich, especially when you're younger and you're first starting out, and then moving into working in original bands, finding venues and gigs for you to be able to play and show your music, and then also working on something that was quite new to me when this gentleman mentioned it to me, and that was working or looking at gateway bands. But I'm going to introduce you now. This is Ash Nesbitt, and guitarist and songwriter, and welcome, Ash.
Thanks for having me, man.
No, I'm glad to get you in. We've been talking about it for a little while, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, what I've just mentioned a few of the things there, and we said about the one thing that you brought up actually, and it's something that we often talk to about here to students about being time rich as opposed to being money rich.
Yeah.
And you brought it up, and I thought it was a great topic. So I'm just going to let you kind of go with that. What did you mean when you talked about being time rich?
At the point that I'm at now, it's you got responsibilities, ain't you? As an adult, do you know what I mean? You got
too many.
You got an house to look after. You got X, Y, and Z to look after. And I think when I look back at when I was here, like when I was 17, 18, and I was working then as well, but it wasn't as like my responsibilities weren't as like piled on top of each other. So it's like I had time to spend like 6 hours playing guitar. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, unfortunately, I haven't as much as I'd love to. And I think it's depending on where you want to get in your guitar, like, you know, in your guitar life, it's detrimental to spend that much time. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean when you say, well, I would have thought playing guitar for all the time you've got in the world, and you're saying that's detrimental? What do you mean?
Do it properly, ain't you? Like if you're just picking it up and you're just playing like 4 chords over and over again, you're not going to get anywhere, are you? You're not going to build your repertoire of what you can do. You're just playing the same thing over and over again. Yeah,
we often talk about the difference between actually playing and practicing.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify that because you know, when people say, you know, play as much as possible, yes, you should, but if it's not got any kind of structure or you're not moving forward with anything, you will just sit there. There's no progress, is there really? You were saying about you've got this too much time. It's a bit detrimental just to be focusing on maybe only one thing. So if you were to go back and you've got those 6 hours, what would you do different compared to what you're actually able to do now?
Learn my scales,
right.
Learn my chords. I think another thing as well that kind of I think stunted how I progressed was just listening to the same music over and over again.
Great point.
Which I stuck on Green Day for way too long. I had my guitar way too low, and I was just playing power chords. Do you know what I mean? For like that first 2 years, and I didn't move on to anything else. I didn't hear anything else that made me go like, oh, I want to play that, or I want to learn how to do that. Do you know what I mean? And then eventually, I started listening to Avenged Sevenfold, and I thought, man, that is cool. I want to play that, but that actually comes on to another one of my points I want to talk about. It's not being afraid to listen to new music, not being afraid to try something else, even if you don't like it. Do you know what I mean? You've listened to it, you might think, oh, I like the sound of that, but I don't really like the music. Do you know what I mean? I like the sound of how that guitar sounds, or I like how that drummer plays, I like how that singer sounds. I want to try and learn that, but it's that's something that I do regret leaving for quite a while. Like not listening to something new, which I'm doing quite a lot of. And I'm noticing at the moment more, despite the fact that I'm not practicing as much as I'd like to, I am noticing that my progression's a bit quicker than it was, say, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, where I wasn't doing as much. I wasn't really like pushing myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't, like the solos that I was writing, I wasn't thinking like, I want to go a bit further with this one. I want to implement something else. I want to do this. I want to do that. I was just being safe, so I wasn't going outside the box of what I know. Whereas I am now. So I think if I had this kind of mindset when I was 17, 18, 19, and I had all the time in the world, I think I'd have been a bit better than I am now. Everyone goes through that though, don't they? Like I could be better.
I mean, one of the things, a turning point for quite a lot of people when they go to college, is they get the doors opened up to different styles, different artists.
Yeah.
So, but I do think you have to go through that, and at some point, I think most musicians will come across a point where you go, actually, I can listen to anything and gain something from it.
Yeah, definitely.
Rather than being the, I suppose it's an immaturity, but the judgmental.
Yeah, that's it.
That's rubbish just because you don't like it.
You don't like it. Yeah. I think that's how I was really. Like, there's a few different people. Like, some people like John Mayer, some people like Tool, some people like, you know what I mean? Like, all different, even just different genres. Some people listen to reggae, some people listen to pop. And at the time, I was thinking, like, I ain't listen to that. It's not Green Day, you know? It's not cool. I ain't listen to that. And now, like, even if you want to take it from, like, now I'm properly recording, like, in a band and all this, I can listen to music and I think, like, oh, that sounds good, that does. Not necessarily I like the way the music is, but sounds good, like, production-wise.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I just want to pick you up on that.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to...
Don't name names or do anything like that, but
yeah. So, one of the biggest artists at the moment. Yeah. I'm not a big fan, but if I listen to the songs, because they're always on the radio, and I think, like, it sounds good.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's well produced. And I think if you have that mindset from the get go, it'd make listening to music a whole lot enjoyable as well. Like, you're not just going to sit there and think, oh, I listen to that because I don't know. She's just playing 3 chords for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It makes it enjoyable all round, doesn't it?
Yeah, just listening on a different level.
Yeah.
But again, though, I think that comes with experience.
Yeah.
There are people, you meet them, and they're young and they've got a good ear already and they're listening to these things. But most people, I think it takes some time to grow.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the things, I don't want to get into this too much because it's not taken away from the actual topic you brought up. But it was, I think with YouTube and streaming and everything so readily available now, we get music tends to be so quickly consumed. We don't get a chance to really digest it.
Yeah.
It kind of passes through. It's in one ear and out the other, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah. But hopefully that's going to be a trend that will slow down. I don't think it's going to go away. Just technology, it's going to keep going no matter what.
Get faster, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'm really glad you brought that up because I'm hoping there's going to be some of the guys listening that just get thinking about this. Maybe thinking of going to music college or uni and they're saying, well, okay, maybe I should broaden my horizons. But the big one for me that you mentioned was about using your time wisely, investing it in different areas of your musical journey.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of hippie-ish, I know, but musical journey because you've got the playing side, the theory side, understanding, but also being open to all these different genres. So I think it's a great point, Ash. Really good. So with your bands and your learning experience, writing original material, you're gigging with your new band and stuff. So is there anything that from that you would say these are some 2 or 3 really important points to pick out for young people going out and they're trying to get bands, trying to get gigs at venues? Is there anything you could comment on that?
Try being in a covers band first.
Okay. That's interesting.
From my point of view, I can't speak for everyone, but I remember leaving college and I won't say I started, but I joined the covers band with a few of the people in the first dips the year below us.
Yeah.
And we had a few gigs and whatever, and I got to the point where I wasn't really enjoying it because I don't know if it's like an ego thing or, but it made me realise these people don't want to listen to my band. They don't want to listen to me. They want to listen to John Bon Jovi or Eric Clapton. And my best example of this is the last gig I'd done. All the way through the gig, there was some bloke, I don't know who he was. I think he was like a friend of one of the other people.
Yeah.
But all the way through, he was like, play like the boy Eric Clapton. Play like the boy Eric Clapton. And what makes me think he was a friend is because we actually had that in our set list.
Right.
And I'm going to have to find the video for you because I'm pretty sure it's on Facebook somewhere. But when we announce it, all you hear in the background is this bloke go, whee! And I'm just... When I think about it, I'm like... He's not here to listen to us. Yeah. He wants to listen to some covers, and that might do for some people. Do you know what I mean? Some people enjoy playing covers, but at that moment, I knew this ain't for me. Well,
we've touched on that. Especially with Steve a couple of podcasts ago, where we were talking about the tribute bands, and there's a massive scene at the minute.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
and it's a great cover band's great for getting you into the circuit. getting you meeting people, networking, funding your own personal projects and all that kind of stuff. But it does seem to be that it's a complete blanket at the minute with tributes. They get the nice venues and everything else, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, tribute bands have got their place and everything. It's one of the things we discussed. But when you think about working in a covers band first, what's that to prepare you?
Yeah, just because there's open mics everywhere right now. Like there's open mics everywhere. And it's just to get this is why I always say this, like the college, this course, it's the best thing that you can do when you're at that age. You know, you're just getting into it because it gets you the experience of being in a band without the pressure of writing music. Yeah. You can just pick up your guitar, get behind your kit, whatever, and you can play someone else's tunes, and it'll give you the experience what you need to play in a band. And I think if you like that aspect, but you don't like the covers, then you start writing your own tunes.
Yeah. To be fair, that's where we've been going last few years. Kind of first year covers, set material, session tracks, then slowly moving into composition. So we want you to write a track of your own. You know, pick the genre, elements, structure, all that kind of stuff. So that's slowly moved into that because you do get students that come in, they're getting fed up of playing the same 3-4 chord pop rock songs and stuff. Yeah. So when you went from the covers band, how long did it take you to jump from the covers band and get into your first originals band?
It wasn't long. I can't remember because it was.
Yeah, it's okay. But it wasn't long.
10 years ago. It was over 10 years ago. But now I think it was within the year, within the 6 months, I think it was.
That's quick.
Yeah. But I joined, I looked on Join My Band, which I can't go. Some people I've heard of says that they don't like it, but I got in my first original band for it, so I can't really knock it. But I joined by that, and it was the first band I ever recorded stuff with. But I think when I got to the end of that as well, I knew again that it wasn't really for me because I wanted to start. I didn't want to join halfway. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to. Yeah. I wanted to build it.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And I think hindsight, it's easy to say, isn't it? But I think when I was in my second band as well, I think I felt the same way then. I joined halfway. They'd already released an EP, and we quickly cut that out and we started writing our own tunes. But for the first few gigs, I'm playing someone else's songs, and it still felt like I was
in a covers band.
Because I'm just playing someone else's music.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing I'd say, try and start your own. Try and build it up from the ground. Get your own friends in. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's not very good, it don't matter, does it? You're writing your own tunes. You're getting the experience of having people in a room writing your own music, which I can't think of anything else that's better. There's nothing better than that, you know what I mean? Just three. We started as 3 people, just the singer and the 2 guitarists, me and the other one. And it's, I don't know, I can't put into words how good that felt. Building up from the bottom, and we think we ain't even a band yet, but we're writing our own tunes.
I suppose it depends where you are in your own musical journey. Again, I'm using that term.
Yeah.
But if you haven't been through a certain element, I would imagine, of covers playing, writing your own material is going to be extremely difficult because you've got no pool to draw from. There's got to be some form of influence, something to draw from. But it's, I agree. The sooner you can make that shift and you get into an originals band and start writing your own stuff, they're better. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about my experiences, talk about you, but
we're all interested in you as well, Dick.
Yeah, but that was the same thing happened. Yeah, started off bunch of mates, got one that heard music, plays the guitar, going to said, we'll play covers, the usual stuff, AC/DC and all that, the usual classic rock stuff. Yeah. And then it was very quickly became, we want to write, and it was really funny because I think 5 went down to 4 very, very quickly, probably because of that. I'm not sure. And that went out, and we did a bit with that, gigs and whatever, and then that went down to 3, and then we recorded a bit with the 3-piece and the 3-piece. I enjoyed both of those originals very much. I'm not going to say which one's better But there was
Go on.
good. No.
Go on.
I'll be a liar if I didn't really enjoy being like the only guitarist. I'll be a liar. Yeah, I'm making a racket with just the three of you. But I think it's a really valid point. So I'm glad, again, another really good point.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else on that, or are you happy to talk about perhaps moving into when you've done this originals, you're trying to get these gigs, and I know that getting venues at the moment, although there are more and more, it's starting to really come out, and obviously a lot of them have been taken up by the tribute acts and stuff. But for original music, there just seems to be more and more coming up. There seems to be more and more open mic nights happening. So, you know, I already know the answer to these, but the regularity of being able to get into these venues now. So there's less of them. They are building, but there's less of them. So what sort of circuit can you get onto now? You know, is it the usual? Is it like Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Dudley? Well, is it that kind of, or?
Well, for us, it's quite difficult because we ain't really got a lot. We ain't got nothing out there at the moment, as you know. We're halfway through doing our EP.
Yeah.
So it's when I've tried a few times to get in touch with promoters, and I'm trying to I'm sending them like phone footage because that's all we've got.
Right.
And I'm not getting nothing back at the moment. So it's one of those things where I think you need to have a repertoire of
show reel, at least.
Yeah. Some of the bands that I know who are doing well for themselves, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place. Like Birmingham's the biggest one because you got the O2s, didn't you? Did you ever go to the Roadhouse?
Yeah.
I love that place. That was probably one of the best places I've been to. I miss that place, but it's gone now. And then Dudley as well. There was Rock Zombie as well, wasn't there? There?
That one I'm not sure about. I know the Foundry there.
Oh yeah, I've been to the Foundry once. Yeah.
So I know you're doing some. You've done some support, support slots for more well-known artists, and I think that's probably one of the key things for a newer band.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's when you're first starting, you've got your friends and family. You know, it's. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
You touched on something. Can I interrupt you? Right?
Yeah,
You touched on something, and I thought it was a really, really good point. I mean, you did make me laugh because I said to her, "How come such a big gap between the gigs?"
Yeah.
And you said, because at the moment, you've just said it's mostly your friends and family coming.
Yeah.
They are not going to come every single weekend.
They're not.
Yeah. So it's building that. It's trying to build that up, and that takes time.
Yeah,
it takes and patience.
I think that we played a gig in May. That was our first one. Then we played one in September. Then we played one in December. And every single one, we've sold out like our tickets.
Yeah.
And the one in December, we had 50 tickets and we sold them all. But it's I wouldn't say easily done, but it makes it easier when you space them out because, like I say, no one's going to want to come every weekend or every other weekend to watch the same set. Do you know what I mean? Until you release new music.
Yeah.
No one's going to want to keep doing it every week. So if you do it every
And that's the plan with the EP, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're going in to record that in March?
March.
Yep.
And then our next gig's in April. And then the one after that, August, which will be the EP release. So,
it's not that long, you know. It seems like ages, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but it's not. It'll come around really quick.
Yeah.
So what's that? How many tracks on the EP?
6.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, 6. Right. Which it's... There was a bit of a debate whether we should try and do a few more and make it like an album. But we're very which every band should be, I think. But the most votes gets the.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was just do the EP.
Diplomacy, basically.
Yeah.
So it actually works then.
Yeah. No one argued.
Yeah, because normally most EPs 3 to 4, aren't they?
Yeah.
So doing that couple of extra. I suppose to some degree it's testing the water with your audience as well.
Yeah.
Because you're giving them quite a bit of material. It's almost a set.
Yeah. Well, it's barring one song, it is our current set.
Going forward, then you've got the gigs coming up. You're going to studio. You don't have to tell me which studio, but whereabouts are you recording?
Hensford.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Really good place. Yeah. Not one of the best place I've ever been to. Which I know this don't like knock what Where We Go does, but the very first place I recorded was some weird industrial estate in some abandoned building upstairs with broken windows. So it's, you know what I mean? The bar's not very high, but
I recorded an EP in a basement. In the basement with no windows.
Yeah.
So what's the plan then? Once you've got the EP out, is you just going to start ramping the gigs up?
Yeah. We've got the music video to be recorded in April.
Yeah.
Which I think once we get that out there, it's something for people to watch, isn't it? It's, as we've already said, people's attention spans, they're not great, are they? It's like if you're not getting punched if you're not getting punched in the face in the first like 10 seconds, then it's next.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah. It's not even 10 seconds anymore.
No, it's not. It's mad, like the attention span, but we need to try and make that music video as impactful within the first 3 seconds then.
Yeah.
But I think if once we get that out, it makes it easier, doesn't it? Like we said, you need something there for people to look at. You need something there for people to listen to, and that's how you get gigs.
What the social media thing?
You've got to,
we've talked about literally everybody I've had on talked about social media and about the fact that you've got to do it.
You've got to do something.
Yeah. And if you're clever with it, it can work wonders.
Oh, it can. It really can. But a lot of the videos I see of bands doing it, it makes me cringe. I'm not a fan, and I've told them I outright refuse to do the cringy videos because it's not me. Do you know what I mean? I want to put my music out there where people are thinking like, that's definitely Ash. That's somebody's doing. I don't want to do these videos where people are thinking, why is Ash doing that?
Yeah. There was something that Nick and Zak mentioned, but there's an element of integrity, and people will see through it. And if you're doing things just for that fad, just for the attention, they'll soon go. Yeah. So if you stick to what you know and you're proud of, eventually people will come to you.
Yeah. The thing is, if you do it once, you do it twice, you need to follow the trends then, don't you?
Yeah.
You got to keep it up, else your interactions are going to drop down.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name the band, but their videos they post all the time. They do funny videos, which I must admit they are funny, but they do actual music as well. And if you look at the views on their videos on like TikTok and whatever, and then you look at their streams, they're nowhere near.
Yeah.
No, people are watching these videos and they're not going, I want to listen to their music.
Yeah.
Because it don't make me want to listen to their music. I just think their videos are funny.
Yeah.
But that's where it stays, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, and I don't want to repeat myself for people who've seen previous podcasts, but there's a disparity between the amount of followers and views somebody has as opposed to the people that are purchasing the music.
Yeah.
I don't mean streaming it, even though I know they are paying, you know, in a literal sense, they are paying for that service, but actually buying the music, buying a single from Bandcamp or iTunes, there's a massive disparity.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a 1,000 followers, there's probably maybe 20, 30 that are actually paying to buy your music.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see that shift round, wouldn't it? It'd make hiring producers and studios a damn sight easy, wouldn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something that I would love to be able to push, but it's just I can't. What am I going to do?
No,
so,
it's the friends and family though, isn't it? It's the friends and family buying everything. It is in our case anyway. Yeah.
Well, I think it's with everybody when they first start, and then slowly you'll gain that momentum and that kind of traction. People will jump on with it as long as they can see the integrity's there.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said earlier, certain people put stuff out and it's trend hopping. And good luck to them. You know, if that's what they're going to do, good luck to them.
That's it. Yeah. If that's how you want to make,
there's no kind of judgment. It's just you want to do that, great, go for it.
Yeah, it's not for me.
No, I don't blame you. I don't think you're right as well. So okay. The other one then, we're looking at something that my previous guest mentioned and talked about, was talking about working relationships, but you mentioned it just literally before press record, and that was imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And I think that was really interesting because the person beforehand, Rose, she talked about it, and I was really surprised that she said that. And then you've said the same thing, and I thought it was interesting. So your take on that?
It's not a very nice feeling.
No.
And it's all the last, like I said to you, just my last experience of it was at the last gig.
Yeah.
And during our slow song, you know, I'm giving it the giving it the full beans.
Yeah.
And I wish I had a camera in front of me to record my reaction, and I wish I had a camera behind me so I could see.
Right.
Because there wasn't a set of hands down, everyone was doing it, and I caught myself halfway through, and I'm thinking like, why are they following me?
Okay, got you.
I'm telling them to do this, but why are they listening?
Yeah.
And it's hard to articulate it. It's a feeling. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't know whether it's like I'm doing it because they're all there. They're paid to watch us.
Yeah.
So
Part of the show.
yeah, it's part of the show. But you catch yourself halfway through and you just think like, why are they doing it?
Yeah.
Why are they doing that for me?
Yeah.
And it's I'm not sure how many people like have. I can imagine more people than not.
I think most musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go through that at some point, but in different
Yeah.
scenarios.
Yeah, but it's
Some of it's from performance,
yeah.
teaching, whatever. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting to hear that coming from somebody else from a different angle. But it's still saying that kind of, well, hold on, is this happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, again, another really good point, Ash. So one of the other topics that again has been discussed beforehand, and again, I'm so glad you brought it up, which was working with people, personal skills, relationships within bands.
Yeah.
Go.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because everyone's different, aren't they? And you've got however many people you've got in your band. For me, it's 5 people. So you've got 5 completely different people in a room, all trying to do the same thing, but you've got 5 different personalities, isn't you?
Yeah.
Everyone's different. It's hard to work. No matter how good friends you are, you could be the best mates, but as soon as you try and do something that you're both passionate about, that gets in the way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the immense times like I've had, for lack of a better term, ding-dongs with band members, it's like we're both arguing, but we're arguing about the same thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to go into too much detail, but I had one like, I think it was a couple of months ago. It could be less time than that. I've lost all concept of time. But you're shouting at each other, but it's like we're both in this room doing something that we're incredibly passionate about.
Both want the best.
Yeah, both want the best.
But just going at it.
Yeah, but we're both just shouting at it, and I think you've got. It's harder for some people to sit down and realise that what I've just said, you've got 5 different people in a room. And, it's hard for people to understand that. And you just think, well, I'm thinking about it this way, so why don't you think about it that way? It's trying to find that middle ground for everyone to. Do you know what I mean? Like for everyone to just.
You've got to compromise.
Yeah. Just to compromise on. Again, what we said earlier, everyone's got responsibilities, haven't they?
Yeah.
You've got to. And again, the more people you've got in your band, the harder it's going to be to sort things out. Like we've got 5 people. I dread to think what Slipknot were like when, do you know what I mean? They've got like 50 band members, haven't they?
Yeah.
So you've got everyone's personal life to contend with. I'm booking this. Can you say now? Can you do anything on the 2nd of October? Oh, no, I can't do that. And you got 5 people to contend with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's. You've all got to compromise on what you want.
Yeah.
What you want to do. How serious are you taking us?
Yeah. Nick J. Townsend, week 13,
Yeah.
The band leadership, he talked about that. He said there needs to be somebody that's going to be prepared to say, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's me.
Yeah.
It's every time we talk about something, I can see everyone's eyes like looking at me, and it's. Which I don't mind. I quite like it. It's in my last 2 bands, like I said, I joined them late.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like, I'm here now. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen to me, which I'd never do that anyway. But because Andy, my singer, he's in 2 other bands.
Right.
And he pretty much, he does a lot for those 2 bands.
Right.
So when we first started, I'm like, you've got a lot doing. I don't expect you to do everything, but I'll take everything I can.
Right.
which again, like I say, I don't mind. I quite like it. It's using my passion for it to drive it forward.
Yeah.
Which again, everyone needs to do it, but I don't mind sorting everything out. But that makes it hard when I'm trying to book the music video for, this was like December, I think it was. I'm trying to book it for like 5 months' time. Can you do this? Oh, I don't know. Can you? What about? I don't know what I'm doing. Then I'm like, well, if you're not doing anything, you're doing this music video.
Yeah.
So it's hard to contend with people's personal lives and level of commitment.
But again, it takes a certain level of maturity to be able to cope with that without it becoming
overwhelming.
And people just exploding.
Yeah.
So bands explode because of that.
Yeah.
That's the very thing, isn't it? Again, another important point, it was talking about how people communicate and interact with each other and a level of trust. Because obviously the guys must trust you if they're letting you.
Well, I hope so.
They're letting you. Well, they're letting you take the lead.
Yeah.
They must trust that you're going to do it right.
Yeah,
so,
I hope so. Can we talk about gear?
Yep. In what context?
Well, I think you asked me this. I think it was a few months ago about what I use on stage.
Yeah.
And I used it for the first time at our first gig last May. I've been using a Line 6 Helix, which I think it's the future. Like just a effects board, I think it is the future. But the only thing that I miss is the back of the stage, from the amp.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I miss. But I wouldn't say every band, but most bands I see now, they've got like a NASA computer on stage with everything you can think of racked in there. Computer, backing tracks, clicks in the ear. And cause I've seen a few bands, especially like older, I wouldn't say older, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like experienced bands saying that they don't like that kind of thing. But when I'm listening to music, I like it to be tight. I like it to be in time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way we want to go. Like, everything in ears, everything there, and for it to sound as full as humanly possible.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to quickly, I know this might seem daft, but just to clarify for anybody who doesn't know, the Helix floor, it's an amp modeler and effects unit, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And where basically you go straight into the PA.
Yeah.
So there's no need. So all you got your monitors or in ear, because you guys are in ear, and you don't have the need for the amps backstage, which is a way. I mean, the amp modelling systems now have gone crazy.
Oh, they're unreal.
You've got the quad cortex, and obviously the Boss stuff's coming along and whatever else. But the two main ones, was the Kemper was the main. That was the first one, wasn't it, really? And then you've had the pod and the Helix line, and then the quad. I think one of the things with the Helix is like, obviously you've got the expression pedal built in, haven't you? And all that. Whereas on the quad, you've got to buy an extra unit and all that business. But there's massive pro bands now, and they're using they're using.
Yeah, they're great.
They've got false cabs and stuff out the front.
Well,
and they're using these little effects processors.
Yeah,
but they sound amazing.
Yeah, they are. One of the best ones I've played through was the Fender. I might butcher the name. I'm pretty sure it's called like the Tone Master Pro or something. That is one of the best things I've ever played through, and it sounds so like full. Yeah, it's my personal opinion. It sounds better than the Helix, but the Helix still sounds incredible. Yeah.
And it depends on as well, because there's a couple of models of the Helix, and there's the LT and
the LT and the floor.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different. It depends on your needs and your budget.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever tried a quad cortex, they're amazing.
No.
They are amazing, but everybody's got their own take on it and whatever else. So, but one of the things that I think we were talking about was sometimes there's people in the tech world, I suppose they call it GAS. Which is gear acquisition syndrome. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And so, like, you get guys into the cameras. Oh, what's the next camera? What's the next new lens? It's the same with guitarists. Oh, what's this new amp, new effects unit, the new guitar? And people buy stuff when they don't necessarily need it because they've already got stuff that will do the job. And I think one of the things we were talking about was, you can jump in and disagree, agree, whatever, but was that unless the thing that you've got can't do the job anymore, don't waste your money
Oh,
upgrading. And I would also possibly suggest that when you sat with, like, I don't know, a little practice amp in your guitar, there's something pure about that, that you can get different ideas. But when you've then got this thing that's got all these effects and these reverb and delays, it can also enhance your songwriting.
Yeah.
Because you'll hear things there.
Yeah, that you wouldn't.
You ever tried any of the? I won't name all the brand names and everything, but the plugins that you get on your PC. You tried any of them?
No.
Yeah, there's a couple. I'll give you a couple of names. Yeah,
Yeah.
They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like an amp. Yeah.
I've always gone through. Well, since I've had my Helix, I've always gone through there.
Yeah, well, there's the neural DSP that do the quad, but they do stand alone. But we've also got stuff like the Black Star, like St James plugins. Sound amazing. Like, have a listen.
Yeah.
Because then you haven't got to plug your 100-watt amp in at home, or or play through your headphones on your Helix or wherever it is.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, so that's the other thing as well, like setting it all up.
Yeah. It takes. I wouldn't say it takes ages, but it's sometimes you just want to pick up and play.
Just go.
Yeah.
I love little practice amps. I like little Spark amps.
Yeah,
They're great little things they are.
I can't even remember what it's called. Oh, the name will come to me later. But I've seen like a new amp. It's tiny. But they sound phenomenal as well.
You've got all the Katanas, and they've got various sizes. Well, Spark have done the same thing, because they started out as they were like a startup. So you paid for, like, you put the money down. So when they've got enough money, they produced an amp. When that thing came out, it was amazing. And then they've gone on and produced others, and they've got like Bluetooth foot switches with next to no lag, apparently. Apparently, before I get sued. But, everyone who's bought one doesn't work. But and they've listened to the customers. They're a crazy little thing. But at the end of the day, it's like a 40, 50 watt Bluetooth speaker, but with guitar effects built in. Yeah. They're fantastic little things. But I think when we were talking initially, before we went off on one, talking about pedals and all that kind of stuff, it was about, you don't always need all that stuff. Sometimes you can have combo, distortion, chorus, maybe a wah, and you're sussed, you're done.
Yeah, the amount of, again, I can't knock anyone, but the amount of guitarists I've seen, and they've got every pedal ever made on a board, and they use like two. Yeah. It's just what's it for?
No, because of some of the guys, I think it's Nuno Betancourt from Extreme. I think I'm pretty sure it's him. I was watching an interview, and he's got a pedal and it's on, and it makes virtually no difference to the sound, other than I think it makes it slightly warmer for his lead tones, but it's on all the time. Yeah, just stays on all the time because he likes the feel of it, I guess. So I'll just start. Talk to loads of people about gear, and there's so much stuff I can't keep up anymore. I used to be quite up on it, especially when I did retail, but I can't. I just don't know what's going on to that degree. So people coming, have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? And it's like, well, yeah, but what are you going to use it for? If you're not gigging, stick with your practice amp until you start gigging, and then you go out and get yourself a Helix or whatever you desire. But going down that route. I don't me talking more about it than you this time. One of the last things we are going to move on to, because we've made some really good points, Ash, and I'm really glad we got to talk like this as well.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we've had a proper chat like this.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something to me, and I said I don't think I've heard of that before, and it was gateway bands.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite terms, and it was after I left my first band. It was something that really, actually, I'd say it was more while I was in my second band. I wanted to write music where anyone can listen to it, anyone can enjoy it, and
that's hard.
Yeah, I know. But it's what inspired me to do that is when I joined my second band. It wasn't straight away. It was when we started writing like tunes as a whole, rather than using the old stuff. Yeah. Like my brother, my friends started coming to like the gigs, and you could call it biased, but they were enjoying it, and they listened to like grime and stuff like that. Yeah. But they were buying the merch. They were coming to pretty much every gig. They they were streaming the songs on Spotify constantly, and it got me thinking, like, if I can get other people to do that, do you know what I mean? Like people that listen to like just pop music, just anything, and you think, oh, that's catchy, that's nice, but it's heavy, and you think, oh, I quite like that guitar sounds quite like, you know what I mean? I quite like the instrumental behind it. What else is like this?
Yeah.
And again, that's what going back to what we was talking about earlier about like spreading out and listening to all the different types of music. It's bands like that got me to venture off. Not just for people who listen to pop music. Maybe if you just stuck on listening to Green Day, do you know what I mean? Like, if you just stuck on listening to one band and you think, oh, that's nice, I like that. What's heavier?
Yeah.
The first thing I listened to, like I said, it was Avenged Sevenfold, and then it's not particularly heavy, but then I branched off to like Disturbed, which then got me into listening to nu metal.
Yeah.
And then, like I say, I was listening to Gary Moore, which then got me listening to other things, like I wouldn't say I'm really into blues that much anymore, apart from Gary Moore, but he does other kind of stuff as well, doesn't he? So it got me listening to like classical rock or 80s metal, like Def Leppard, you know, stuff.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, go on.
I was about to drop one there. So yeah, it's just, I like the idea of being that kind of band.
Yeah.
Another one was like probably Bullet for My Valentine. I know loads of teenage like people are going like watching them there at the moment, aren't they? But loads, when I was a teenager, they were massive. People just getting into that metalcore genre,
yeah,
and then branching out to listen to other things like heavier things. I never really went through that Bullet phase, but I know a few people that did, and then they branched off to stuff like Arch Enemy, do you know what I mean, and things like that.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So, can you still go back and listen to Green Day?
Yeah, but I've got to be in the mood.
Right. But you still can go back and listen to it?
Yeah.
Because I think that's what, there's a thing sometimes when I think people, they get into a different style of music or they follow something and they go, oh no, I've outgrown that rubbish now.
No,
and
I can.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? No,
yeah, no.
It does happen with people, and it's it's nice when they can grow, but then still say, oh, well, I can still go back and enjoy that stuff.
I'll always say American Idiot is one of the best albums I've ever listened to. Anything after like 21st Century Breakdown, I can't really listen to, which like their newer stuff I don't really like. But anything before, I can listen to as easy as I can.
Yeah, I just think it's an I think it's a hard thing to try and get some form of music, especially if it's from one artist that anybody can listen to. I think you could get a wide variety of people to listen, but everybody, I think that's probably impossible.
I don't mean everyone.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I know that, but you know what I mean? If you try narrowing it down. So Nick's the Week 13, they've just released their double album, and that's got such a mixture of songs on it. And I think if anybody was to listen to one track, they go, oh, you know, they're kind of a heavy grunge orientated band, but you listen to some of the other tracks on there and there's such texture on that album. If you haven't heard it, you'll have to have a listen. And that's one of those ones I thought you know, this could work with a variety of different people that like a lot of different music. So I kind of get what you meant, but at the time when you said Gateway Bells, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
It was quite an interesting thing to have a look at. And I started thinking about bands that you could categorise into that. Yeah. So it's an interesting one. So we're kind of coming towards the end of it now. So is there anything you want to finish with, Ash? You know, we can call it there, and that's fine. And you know, we can catch up again when your EP's done.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
We've been doing that, yeah. So just what I'll do now is say thanks for coming in, mate. It's been great having a chat with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'll do is
thanks for having me.
No, not at all. And it's been good. We really enjoyed the chat actually, especially the guitar pedals and stuff. But what I was going to say, guys, thank you for listening and watching. I'm going to put the links to Ash's band Europa Reign. That will be in the description part of the video. Please go over and give them a like, a follow, and especially a listen, and look out for the gigs and obviously the upcoming EP that will be August. Yeah. If you've got any comments, thoughts, please drop them down below the video. Like and subscribe to the channel, and it will help me to reach out and get other guests coming in. But other than that, thanks again for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one.